So right now I'm in a monastery in Vietnam attending a 10-day meditation retreat in the Mahasi style. That's a particular Vipassana meditation technique out of Myanmar that focuses a lot on noting. So we note our experience instead of getting involved with our experience. Oh, come on.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So it's like instead of thinking about what we see, we just say seeing, 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 and also following the rising and the falling of the stomach and the abdomen as we're breathing. And I'm attending this retreat as a kepia, or as an attendant. So for the two meditation masters here from Myanmar, they're very senior and elder monks, and as a way of showing respect to them, they will have someone to take care of them, to meet their needs, someone they can easily make a request to if they need something done, because it's very important that they have the space to relax, to be with their meditation, to be natural. And also when the people come around and offer donations, I'm in the position or the role to receive those donations, and then I collect them, and at the end of the retreat we'll pass them on to the pass them on. These all have money in them. All of these envelopes have money in them. Pass them on to the monks, and here's another one, two more. And so traditionally in the old style rules for the monks, they didn't receive money, they didn't use money. But times have changed, and nowadays it's really up to the donors. So what the donors want to offer, what they want to give, most monks will do their best to receive that and to accept that. And the role of the kepia, what I'm doing right now, is to kind of be like a middleman and to show the respect and the reverence and the appreciation for those traditional rules, and to give some space for the monks, for the meditation masters, and between like money and finances and things, so they can just focus on their meditation during this time of the retreat. And I've included in the description of this video a way that you can offer, you can donate to me if you'd like to support this work, and also a way where you can reach out to me, send me an email or WhatsApp, and we can set up a personal meditation interview if you feel like that's something that you could use at this time. Or something that you can just have in your pocket, something that you can know is available and accessible for you. If you ever need to reach out, if any emergencies come up, that I'm here to help, I'm here to support. And so going back to that Mahasi style meditation method, we make a note instead of getting involved in the stream of thinking. So we make a note of thinking. Like instead of getting involved in thinking, we'll note that thinking is happening. We'll say thinking, thinking, seeing, seeing, hearing, hearing. Instead of making judgments about what we hear, judgments about what thoughts happen, judgments about what we experience. So we just say pain, pain, pleasant, pleasant, rising, rising, the stomach rising, falling, falling, the stomach falling. And that helps us get back to this way of practice of knowing. And that knowing is not about knowing something or knowing about something, but it's just knowing. It's just that awareness, connecting with awareness. Aware, aware. Hearing, hearing. Seeing, seeing. And this is a classical teaching and really deep teaching. When we say, oh, that's noisy, or oh, that feeling is uncomfortable, it's actually the touching, the grasping, the interfering that's making it worse, that's making it suffering. So if we can just listen to the noisiness without touching it, without interfering with it, then that noisiness can be a meditation object and not something that disturbs us. And we can be disturbed in pleasant and unpleasant ways. So it's not just that we have some, oh, we're going through a stressful emergency, but we can also be going through a pleasure emergency where we're overindulging in eating food, or we're overindulging in masturbation or sexual thoughts. We're overindulging in pleasant thinking, right? We're kind of getting stuck. We're fixated. We're seeking. We're chasing. We're touching. And our meditation is this way to really show up to go inwards, to be with whatever's happening without that touching, without that interfering, without that judging. In this way, we can go deeper and deeper into the mind. And through that awareness, that understanding, that knowing, through experiencing rather than conceptual thinking, we unravel the knots that cause us to feel so much stress, extra levels of unnecessary stress. And that can be stress about we're feeling something that we don't want to feel, or we're really looking for something, right? We really want to feel something, and that both of those can be stressful. So stress isn't just about, oh, I feel, things are going really well, or things are going really bad. It can be both of them, or just wanting something to happen, right? Not being comfortable with just relaxing and just being with ourselves. So we can go back again, that Mahasi style noting, breathing, breathing, hearing, hearing, thinking, thinking. So we're untangling ourselves. We're untangling ourselves from things, from stories, from stress, from suffering. And there's some question that comes up about, do we need to try really hard? Do we need to bring like this intensity to our practice so that we can get so that we don't have to be so stressed and so hot? Do we have to like force heat to cool down? And I think the answer in that for me, and what I share, is respecting our own capacity to look deeply and to be with what's being experienced, and for that to mean something again. So it's like I often talk about living a meaningful life. right? And that doesn't mean that you have to go and be a superstar or go do something extravagant related to meditation or spirituality, but it's more that we're bringing meaning, we're bringing intimacy back into our direct experience, and then we're starting to identify like, oh, this really supports me in that. This helps me to go into the meaningfulness of my life, instead of just scrolling on TikTok or watching YouTube videos, overeating, pornography, fixating on sexual thoughts or activity. And in this way, we learn to conserve a lot more energy, stop wasting so much energy, and then place our energy in that which brings this meaningfulness into the coolness and the freshness of a nature. Natural sounds, natural sights, natural experiences, feelings, sensations in our body. Getting out of this framework of judging everything and giving our opinion about everything and making these determinations all the time of like, oh, I like this, oh, I don't like that. Does it really matter that much that you like this or you don't like that in the grand scheme of things? That you like this YouTube video or you don't like that TikTok video, or you like that thought or you don't like that thought? And what I mean by that is that it's more important for us to be humble, to be gentle, to be open, to be aware, than it is to be constantly seeking after things and then making judgments about what we experience or what we seek after. So we can learn to start resting in awareness, learn to start connecting with the people, places, situations, and experiences that allow us to rest in awareness, rather than being arrested by our stress, being arrested by our nonstop thinking mind. I mean, what a relief is it for, in this whole world with all its war and its struggle and its complicatedness and its politics and like the internal world of all these thoughts and fears and worries, and we have thoughts about what other people think about us, we have thoughts about what we think about what thoughts happen inside of us. to just be able to sit down on the floor, to sit down on the ground and look at the trees. And just not to be anybody. Not to be anybody who needs to be right. Not to be anybody who needs to be perfect. Not to be anybody who has to fix some part of themselves or get rid of something inside of themselves. You know, and then it's like life, you know, real life, this life of love, this life of freedom, this life of naturalness is constantly holding up a job application to us. And how we fill out that job application is not with our resume and what we've done and what we know and the good qualities about us and the bad qualities about us and how much we want this job, but it's just to put ourselves wholly into this moment, into this experience. And to know that this experience is not just thinking about things. The only aspect of this experience that is about thinking about things is just that thought. And there's so much more than that thought. That good thought, that bad thought, that right thought, that wrong thought, that practical thought, that impractical thought, that scary thought, that hope-inspiring thought. Thank you, Spiced, for the donation, and good job practicing generosity. That's a wonderful way to connect about Buddhism. My advice is stay connected. Stay connected to that listening, that openness. You know, taking the position, like exchanging the ego that's up here for the heart beating right here. You know, really, you can even put your hand over your heart as you're here in this live stream and listen to your heart beating as if it was important. You know, it seems like we wouldn't need to say that, but we do. You know, it needs to be said. And then to actually practice that. To practice listening to the heart as if it were important. Through all your stress, through all your struggles, traumas, growing up, making mistakes, dealing with abuse. dealing with neglect. Your heart has always been there for you. And the way of Buddhism, the way of meditation, is actually to begin to be there for the heart. And the heart doesn't require or have an interest in our conceptual thinking about it. You know, what the heart can value, what the heart can actually receive is our attention, is our presence, is our wholeheartedness. Meditation is entirely different from everything else that we do in our lives. Because everything else that we do in our lives is always about getting something. What can we get? What am I going to get by doing this? Meditation instead is entirely about giving. You may be inspired to meditate because you think you're going to get something. In some way, we have to have that. We have to have the inspiration, the motivation, the intention to meditate. But once you find the space within yourself to sit down and be with your breathing and to focus, then it's all about giving. Sometimes we have to give up. Sometimes we have to give away. Sometimes we have to give in. Simply watching the rising and falling of our stomach. So it's a looking and giving, really. Looking closely, giving fully. Even a moment of giving can mean a lifetime of peace. In the same way that we can't just go around making judgments about, who other people truly are and what their intentions really are, and, they're a good person or a bad person. We can't do that for ourselves. There's so much about yourself that you don't know. There's so much about that body and that mind and that life that is unknown to you. As we practice meditation, we're open to the unknown. We're open to not giving the final judgment. We're open to forgiving ourselves because we see that idea of ourselves that we have based on these certain thoughts that have come up again and again is empty. It's flexible, it's temporary, it's ever-changing. That it's not a possession. You are not a possession of your conceptual thinking. You are already beyond thinking. You are already beyond a conceptual idea. Meditation is remembering that. Experientially. You have to check, bad dev. The thing is, it's kind of like Istanbul is a beautiful place. Bad dev, it's kind of like if you're interested in martial arts, or you're interested in mixed martial arts or Brazilian jiu-jitsu, or let's say arm wrestling. You grab somebody's arm, you try to win. So kind of a miniature martial art. In the world of spirituality, what you're kind of saying, you're not being generous enough or specific enough, or you're not giving enough to really make a determination of what you're saying or trying to say or what you believe. But what you're kind of saying is, hey, I've achieved a level of mastery over this non-duality or spirituality or enlightenment thing to one degree or another, right? And so in any other situation where you had a skill that had a connection to practical application, meaning that skill is not just a thought or a belief, but it's something that is practical, as an arm wrestler, as someone who got a black belt from who knows where, or taught themselves, Brazilian jiu-jitsu, you have to go and test. And if I think if your realization or your lessness of ego-ness is authentic and full enough, then you won't be so foolish as to not recognize that there are many people who have been on this path. And it would be very wise to go and seek out people who have been practicing meditation or concerned with non-duality, Buddhist monks, meditation masters, etc., or just set up a call with me to inspect that skill, that degree that you have or don't have. And the non-duality point is that you don't have anything. Azirafat.
What's your name?
Rob.
Oh,
My name
how
Rob.
old are you?
Old enough. Very popular in Vietnam. The beauty standard here I was talking with someone about this. The beauty standard here for men is it's more energetic, because I'm I'm a little bit plump. It's not like I'm walking around with a six-pack and exercising and all that, like we have a beauty standard in America or in the West. But it's more energetic. People here are more connected to an energetic way of being, a naturalness. So just some young women going by, flirting with me, giggling. So as much as you're fixated on the fact that you have this enlightenment, well, that's not enlightenment, is it? That's a thought being held on to. That's a concept, that's a narrative about yourself that's being perpetuated, that's being given value. And so value in terms of enlightenment is only relates to practical application, to compassion, to wisdom, to generosity, etc. So it has nothing to do with, have I realized this? No, you haven't. You haven't realized anything. You are not enlightened. And that's a relief. And that's a release. And the same goes. We attach to being enlightened. We attach to seeing beauty or being beauty. And it's best use case is to inspire us to practice more seriously. Because when we get wrapped up in like the world of beauty, the world of infatuation, it's going to be a really big problem when you confront, when you see, when you experience the starving children of Gaza, when you face and experience sickness, old age, and death, right? When you get to have the opposite of the positive conceptual framework that you've built up. With beauty comes ugliness. With right comes wrong. With being enlightened comes not being enlightened. And so the rule of thumb, let's say we're curious about someone's experiences concerned with enlightenment. You're going to want to know about their experience. For example, who have they trained with? What kind of retreats have they done? What kind of teachers do they follow? Because there's a very common problem in the modern spiritual non-dual space, which I call, I shit my pants because I'm enlightened wisdom. And this is also called equality without discernment. And it means that it's a big stupid idiot with shit on their face that's, getting lucky, so to speak. What it means is that we say, oh, everything is nothing, or everything is empty, or oh, I actually get it, I've realized it. And that's just, shit on your face. Another thought. Are you enlightened? Am I enlightened? Go and clean your bowl. Go and clean yourself up. And the reason that we want to ask, like, if we're talking with a teacher, we want to learn about someone else's meditation experience, their understanding, their development, is because unless someone goes out and has experiences with meditation masters, does meditation retreats, sacrifices their body and mind concerned with this thing that's supposed to be so important, it can just be completely conceptual, completely intellectual. And this is not about a conceptual framework. This is not about an intellectual understanding. Being scared of pain is not a problem. You just have to be understanding that your infatuation with pleasure, so like your sex addiction, masturbation, you watching pornography, etc., is going to make you very fearful. Infatuation with pleasure, with beauty, with things being a certain way, really loving the how things are taste sweet, etc. It means that you're going to be in danger when things don't taste sweet. So no more masturbation, no more pornography, no more claiming to be enlightened, no more skating on the scales of the crickly dinosaur of intellectual thinking and calling that something important or something special. Go out there and volunteer. Go out there and serve. If you're enlightened, go and meditate. Enjoy yourself. What are you doing here? No gooning is allowed. That's right, Spiced. It's a good question, Bats. So, non duality, let's say a practice of non duality, is that you find a spiritual teacher. You were hanging out on Discord or you were scrolling through TikTok and you found a spiritual teacher. I actually saw somebody like this recently. And I've been that person. They have a backdrop of curtains. It's an old white man with a beard. He's wearing like this kind of creative, like almost opera-esque robe kind of thing. And he's speaking, "The new epoch is coming. You will be given the spiritual transmission. This is not a teaching." Probably sounds like me. But anyway, so you go to this random person seminar or lecture, and then you say, "Oh Lama Guru, oh Lama Guru," and you take all your money, and you take all your possessions, all your wealth, and you write over, you give all of that to this guru person, this guru guy, whoever it is, or guru woman. And then you find out that person is nobody, or that person is a fraud, or whatever kind of ridiculous person that people can be. Non-duality is the emptiness of not being able to get back what you gave. And nihilism is just thinking about things. So when we practice generosity, they have this horrible term, right? An Indian giver. Actually, it's an American giver. But we give something and then we want it back, right? Non-duality is giving without the possibility of getting back. And so for a realization of non-duality sees through that instantaneously, continuously, again and again, in all circumstances. We're not trying to get back what we gave. What we get back is already what we gave up. Why is that important? Because of impermanence. Because there's no thing that's permanent that you can have. So you have to start to walk the talk. And if all you want to do is talk the talk, well, where have you walked? And oftentimes that's when those people put their noses up and start laughing to themselves. Well, what they're laughing at is actually not something that can be spoken about. Because it is not a thing, period. Yeah, we go into it. It's together with everything, right? So it's a matter of karmic affinity. If we become a monk, or if we want to make a meditation center, or we want to do things like that, it's a matter of karmic affinity. But the practice path of being a yogi, of being a meditator, of being someone who has a family, has responsibilities, all of the teachings just apply to that. So there's no rejectionism in it. But there can be generosity in it. There can be detachment in it. There can be renunciation in it, but it has nothing to do with rejecting. There's just degrees of generosity, right? So the simplest degree of generosity is that you're more kind, you're more generous, you offer more, you share more, you listen more. Kind of Thich Nhat Hanh-esque, right? Thich Nhat Hanh is really very skillful for teaching that way. And then you get into renunciation. So this is like a self-sacrifice, right? You certain things, you sacrifice your home, you sacrifice your job, you sacrifice your relationships, etc. And then those things are gone. You can't go back and get those things back, right? You didn't put them somewhere and now you're going to go pick them up again. That's a high level practical application. And then the highest is not about someone giving up something, right? The highest is just wisdom or insight into no owner, not someone, not something, not someplace. And that is not really concerned with our conceptual thinking about our lives. So that applies to living your normal, everyday, humanistic Buddhism life. I can rec you a good book on that, Blueberry Madness, for humanistic Buddhism. And also it applies when we go and we become a monk and we're a meditation master and we're enlightened to various degrees, whatever. That applies, that this wisdom is not about any conceptual framework. It's not about any practice. But the practice can be concerned with, or the ideation is that it's concerned with that. And so that's why it's a high practice rather than a low practice. It's good, Jared. That's a good sign. You have to apply more openness, more gentleness, more non-seeking to that practice. And you have to build up your patience. So build up your patience to 100%, maximum patience. And to have faith that those phenomena, that those experiences are impermanent, are temporary, regardless. So that faith is like an anti-fear factor. And firstly, we can like intellectually remember that faith, and then that faith becomes experiential. Also, we want to have a connection, have a relationship with a meditation master or a meditation teacher. Or we want to have a relationship or a connection with someone who has an active relationship or connection with a meditation master. Very important. And we want to develop faith in that relationship. That's Sangha, that's faith in Sangha. And as long as we're not being, as long as our investment is based in our practice and giving freely and receiving freely, but giving and receiving freely, have as much faith as you want and do your practice. We're building relationships concerned with the path. Be independent, be individuated, but also have faith in what your gut tells you and what you feel and what you experience. I'm going through that right now because I'm in this 10-day Vipassana retreat now, but as an assistant to the meditation masters here. And I've been in this situation many times. And also when my meditation gets very intense or very deep, Sometimes I can also feel that fear, right? Really strange, interesting, out there experiences start to happen. But because I have faith in the meditation masters, because I have faith in the Dhamma, I can relax. And then the meditation practice is a wholesome one instead of one based on seeking. And you want everything to be coming together. You want your practice of generosity and your practice of following precepts and your practice of being mindful in daily life all to be going together. And then when you really sit down and meditate, it's a gift that you're giving to yourself that is a practice of giving, rather than you trying to build up and get something. That's just foolishness. Trying to build up and get something that's not what we're doing here. There's a context for that. If you're coming to join a meditation retreat and you have people feeding you, you have people housing you, you have meditation masters, you have a protected spiritual space, right? Okay, go for it. Give it your all. But if you're just on your own and you're trying to kind of ride off into the forest of intense meditation experiences and enlightenment, it's very likely that there's going to be problems with that. And there's some argument or point to say that we really shouldn't practice like that anyway. But the thing is that we kind of have to begin practicing that way to realize that, the right effort is a kind of no effort or a kind of naturalness. Okay, Spiced, glad that you're here. Take care. See you soon. You can try it and you can see if it helps you become enlightened. It's completely normal, Jared. It's completely normal. And the existential fear and the intensity of the silence will reduce. Try to practice. The retreat that I'm in right now is this Mahasi noting style meditation. So when you feel fear, when that starts to come up, you can make a note, right? Fear, fear. When you start to think about those experiences, you can make a note, thinking, intense experience. You just keep noting your experience. But it's completely normal, it's completely temporary, but Jared, it may be an encouragement to stop, to settle. To stop and to settle. It's impermanent regardless. But sometimes we bring up this wisdom that it's more important for us to stop what we're trying to do, even though what we think we're trying to do is good and right, than it is to keep trying. There's a real deep wisdom in that. And then you can relax. You don't have to worry about working your mind up in that way anymore, because you say, hey, I'm pumping the brakes. I'm going to relax. I'm going to stop. And that's a very active application of stopping. And if you like, Jared, we can also find a time to have a call, if that would help. You think that'd be beneficial? Beautiful, NJ. And then we apply that. We even, in our saying that, we are aware of the irrelevance of saying that, ultimately. That saying that is not separate from the silence. right? That our ordinary life is not separate from the path and the fruit of enlightenment. To really relax, to really settle and be peaceful, be gentle. Practice gratitude. Practice gratitude. We don't need the contrast to actually be grateful, because there's a lot to be grateful for. But some people are in intense pain right now, immeasurable pain, pain beyond what we know of pain as. There are people right now that are starving. There are people right now that can't see. There are people right now that can't hear. There are people right now that just lost their beloved one, their precious one. There are people right now who had a skin infection that spread throughout their whole body, and so the heart beating right now, the eyes seeing right now, the ears hearing right now. Appreciate it. Be grateful. Practice gratefulness. Practice gratitude. Practice appreciation for all of these things that you value that you're not expressing gratitude for. How appreciative are we of our capacity to see? How appreciative are we of our hearing right now? You think you're sick. What if you went blind like that? It can happen any moment. And it will happen. So practice gratitude. And 100%, friends, this is a spiritual situation. This is a spiritual world. This is a 5D spiritual holosphere world. 100%. I promise. I tell you. I promise you that's the way that it is. And the gift and the blessing of that is that we can invite Thich Nhat Hanh to be here with us. We can invite Ajahn Brahm to be here with us. We can invite Rob to be here with us. And it doesn't have to be live, because the live is the living, breathing here and now that never ends and never began, that you always have access to. And so that sense of gratitude leads to a sense of openness, a sense of intimacy and connection, where you're not just listening to someone talk about something, they are entering into your heart. And this can very deeply shift our internal spiritual landscape when we actually meet Thich Nhat Hanh, when we actually meet Ajahn Brahm, when we actually meet Pomnyan Sunu. So Jared Becker, it's a lack of integration, and it's a lack of connection to the normalcy of what you're experiencing. And that means, and that probably is because you haven't connected with people who are farther along on the path or live it this way as a natural life. You haven't had much experience with the natural people. So listen to more Dharma talks is my advice, my encouragement, Jared, and cut off with the meditation. It's really not appropriate or correct to practice meditation to that intensity without being in a way of refuge with the Dhamma, with the Sangha, with the Buddha. Or as far as you can connect with that, whatever that might be. It's really not recommended. So we get concerned with this path, we get concerned with the way of enlightenment, and then we become a donator, we become a giver, we become a listener to other human beings who are on this path. We don't grab it all up, shove it up our rear end, and start emanating light. Whoa, gimme, 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 gimme. Whoop! We get concerned with this path. We realize that this is a big context to connect with and to make use of. All right, and we become a listener, we become a donor, we become a giver, we become a volunteer, we become a student, we become a follower, we become a fellow practitioner, and that is when we begin to take through that begin to take responsibility for the path, which is primarily being mindful in daily life, being virtuous, and listening to the Dhamma. Going back and being generous, going back to this, right? And when we create an overall stabilization of that, not just in our internal framework, but in how our lives, how we are connected with that in the world, that's when we get into kind of trying more seriously in meditation. That's appropriate, and that's when the insight comes. We're not trying to work ourselves up. Not trying to work ourselves up. That's not what we're doing. Yeah, Jared, just go to, if anyone would like to set up a call with me, kind of like a meditation interview, discussion, you can go to the description of this video, and there should be my WhatsApp, my email, way to reach out, way to contact down there. So it's in the description of this video. Go and look around there. All of this work, all of my work is made possible because of people making donations. So if you would like to support my work, please do consider to do so. And there's a link down below in the description of this video. Joe Bot Beep Boop. Currently, the current teaching structure is not based in so-called guided meditations, but if you go through my YouTube channel, you can go back, because there's maybe a few hundred videos on the YouTube channel, and there's previous guided meditations that I've given, things like that. This is not my meditation retreat. This is just a retreat that I am participating in. My Buddhist journey began in America, and then led me to Thailand, and then led me around the world, which led me to here in Vietnam over the past 10 years. I originally went to live at the Buddhist Meditation Center, the Zen Temple in America, in 2014 when I was 20 years old. And I'm now 32, so more than 10 years. So, Jared, the email that you can use is rdthe4th@gmail.com. Om Namah Shivaya. 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 And Carrie, we can set up a time to talk on WhatsApp. Just send me a message there. I'll take everything that you can give, all the prayers, whatever it is, I'll accept it. Okay, we'll finish here. Welcome to sit for a little bit and watch the birds, if you like. The phone will die soon, but